Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, I'm pretty kind of wore out today. We had a long, busy day yesterday with a lot of you folks that watch on a regular basis. We had our meeting yesterday, and even though I'm tired because it was kind of a long day for us and met a lot of people, but I'm not complaining because I enjoyed it and I'm actually really fired up and re-energized. From being around other like-minded folk, bouncing ideas, building community, but my throat, if you can tell, is a little raspy. It's a big building and it has a sound system, but I forgot to bring the connections to use my microphone, so I kind of have to project my voice, and I'm a little raspy. Anyways, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Bitcoins. We're going to talk about hacking and problems with that, maybe just several things in this video. So I hope that you stick around because, well, we'll just see where it goes. This one's one of those ones. It's just a bunch of ideas bouncing around in my empty skull, and we'll see where this one takes us. Before I get started, if you wouldn't mind, to click that like and subscribe button down in the corner. It doesn't cost you anything. It's very little effort whatsoever, and it kind of makes you a little bit part of our internet community here. You see more of the content, and it just helps get the message out even more by just clicking those couple of little buttons down there. Also, I will be also talking about, I gave a little, it was kind of like a video, but I did it at the meeting yesterday, and I'm going to be making a video of basically what I talked about there and posting it on Patreon. So if you want to join my Patreon, there's a link in the description below. It's only $1 a month, and you see additional content, and the content, I try to make it more personal, like we're just sitting down and talking. So if you're interested in that, there's like I said, a link in the description. All right, so let's get started. But before I do, again, I do want to mention, and I mentioned this last week, anyone out there, any of you out there that are hosting meetings in your locale. And I know some of you might say, well, you have people show up at your meetings because you got a YouTube channel and you can announce it. There's a lot of truth to that. I'll admit to that. But I want to announce your meetings too. So wherever you're at, if you're hosting meetings, prepper, homesteader, whatever it is, crew, group, whatever you want to call it, and you want it open to the public, shoot me an email and I will do my very best to mention it in one of my videos. Try to give me a couple of week notice so that I can plan to put it in a north and some information, and I'll put the information up there. So here's one of them. Someone did that. A guy named Mark. This is in kind of north central Tennessee, Jackson County, Tennessee. So if you live in that area, you're watching this in Jackson County, Tennessee, or in that area at the Whitleyville, Tennessee. That's this town, Whitleyville, Tennessee. Or maybe it's, yes. And it's at the county fairgrounds. I'm going to spit it out. I wrote this notes down, and I didn't print anything off. I wrote my notes down, and I'm having a hard time reading my notes. Anyways, this is their 6th meetup, and it's going to be on June 10th from 10 o'clock to noon. For more information and to please RSVP, you can email Mark. I'm going to put his email in, like I do with mine. It'll pop up here somewhere. And you can email the guy and ask more information about what they're doing, show up. But that is in Jackson County, Tennessee. So if you're in that area, certainly consider going to his meeting on June 10th. All right. So I don't talk a lot about Bitcoin on here, but I do mention it briefly. And when I do, it is such a hot topic. I mean, man, I don't know that there's too many more things that I mention on this channel that get so many comments and so much hate and love. Everyone either is in complete agreement or they absolutely are ready to, burn me at the stake for what I say about it. And of course, it's Bitcoin. I'm not a big fan of Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin, you can make money off of Bitcoin. And certainly if you'd bought Bitcoin 2 or 3 years ago, and you held on to it, you'd be worth a lot of money right now. If you'd bought, you know, just even a few hundred coins, you'd be worth a lot of money. I don't think it's a solution for long-term currency, something to combat the US dollar, to combat this, you know, fiat currency, because it's a fiat currency too. And you know, I'm not going to get into all the debate in that. I know it's limited. I know there's all that. I know it's different. I understand Bitcoin. Okay, I have a lot of people, they'll comment or they'll email me like they're trying to get me to understand it. I understand Bitcoin. I remember when Bitcoin came out. I remember when you could buy one Bitcoin for like 1/10 of a cent. So I understand it. But what I have said about it is that it's not the secure thing that a lot of people say it is. It's not something that you can get into and hold on to and know that no government authority is capable of getting to it. It's not something that you can hold on to, and no matter what happens, you can be assured that you have money, because guess what? It's not there. There's nothing there. It's nothing. We all know that. And I know you could say currency, US dollar's nothing, and you're absolutely right on that. But you know, and you might say, well, but if you have the access, you know, all that kind of stuff, you know, you can put it in. They even make these little devices that you can put your code and everything in so that it's completely secure, unless there's something happens and, you know, the electricity doesn't work or technology doesn't work or whatever, and then it's worthless. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for this one, but it's not as secure as you think, folks. Remember the pipeline deal just a few weeks ago down in the southeast, where they hacked the Colonial Pipeline and they shut it down, this Russian hacking group. And of course, I'm just repeating the official narrative. What really happened, we don't really know, but we all have our suspicions. But let's just go with the official story. A Russian hacking group hacked the Colonial Pipeline, shut it down, held it for ransom, and then they paid this hacking group to release the pipeline, and they paid them, I think, somewhere around $4 million, and it was all in Bitcoin. I'm not sure on the exact amount, but that to me is not a big deal, but maybe it was more, but they paid them in Bitcoin. Well, guess what? Ding, 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 ding. The FBI has found and seized a good portion of those Bitcoins. That's right, they found them and they've taken them back. They've seized them. Now there's several things here that we'll get into, but the number one thing that I want to talk about is, if Bitcoins are so secure, if once you have them, you know, the government, they can't touch them, then how did they seize them? How did they do this? They're not as secure as you think. You have to pay taxes on earnings just like anything else. You know, you have to give to even purchase them. Unless you were purchasing Bitcoins years ago, if you decided now to purchase Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency, it's no different than any other stock. You have to, you know, give away basically all your personal information. I mean, you know, they want detailed information of who you are and where you're at before you even are capable of purchasing Bitcoins. But the thing is guess what, folks? The government can take them. I mean, if they did this here, and I know it's different than if they just said, oh, we're going to take Joe's Bitcoins or Bob's Bitcoins or Gary's Bitcoins, but really it's not. If they're capable of doing this, then they are very well capable of shutting it down and taking them from you. So they're not as secure as you think, folks. Now, assuming that the official narrative is true, if they did in fact do this, and this is in fact some hacking terrorist group, and now they did all that and they've lost a substantial amount of their money, depending, you know, from what I read in the report, there wasn't they're not sure about the exact amount, but somewhere probably between 60 and 75% of the money this hacking group got for this ransom was now taken by the FBI. So they're probably going to do something else soon to make up for that. I mean, it would, it would make sense. Apparently, they did the JBS meat packing place, and then there's a few others that's been attributed to them. I'm going to make a video specifically on this subject, but I just want to mention here, I don't really think it's just some random Russian hacking group, but this is going to become a serious problem. If they're capable of doing this kind of stuff, what's to say they don't shut down our grid? Maybe not even all the grid, but a portion of our grid. And if you know anything about our electric grid in the nation, not only is it fragile, there's only just a few points that you have to knock out to take the whole thing down. It's not like lots of redundant backups and breakers and things that, you know, you'd have to take out, you know, 60 or 100 or 200 or 300 different points to bring the whole grid down. There's really only just a few places. And if you know where they're at, and I personally know of a few of them, and the ones, at least at the time, I can't speak to now, things may have changed, but at the time that I were aware of them, I in fact knew that they were very lightly guarded. They had very light security at those places. It wouldn't take much, and that's from an actual physical assault. Now we're talking about an internet, a technological assault. It would not take much to shut the grid down. Do you realize the havoc that would ensue with that? This is a big deal. Even if the official story is correct, it's a big deal. I suspect that there's a whole lot more to it than just the official story. So I'm going to kind of leave this here, and we'll pick it up in another video, probably dedicated just to this, but I wanted to bring this up. Now, I want to switch gears because I did promise I would talk about our meeting yesterday. Part of it's kind of an after-action report, but it's also about just getting to know each other and something that you can replicate in your area. I wish I had chosen a different place to do this video because, my goodness, it's really hot. The sun's right in my eyes. Anyways, pull my hat down if you don't mind, because it's glaring off of my phone and it's hit me right in the eye. So we had about, I didn't count, I should have, but we had about 45, 50 people showed up. Some new people and some people that were regulars coming to the meeting. I did not promote this meeting as much as I had the one in the past because honestly I wasn't sure up until just kind of the last minute if I was even going to be able to have the meeting, just because of some things going on here. We've got a broken down vehicle and it's a little crazy. But we went ahead and had it, and I think it was an immensely successful meeting. I think the last person, you know, the meeting officially started at 2. The first person arrived around 11, and I think the last family left somewhere around 9:30 last night. And that's okay. We are planning, the next meeting is already nailed down. It's June 11th, Sunday, June 11th at 2 o'clock. Same kind of thing though, the doors will open at around 11:30 or 12. So you can get there and just start mingling and talking, and we usually do that afterwards. We are working on planning and a thing where we're just going to take the whole day. This facility that we use is a very large building. It's a large community center, and you know, big kitchen, fully stocked kitchen, bathrooms, everything. And so we're working on making just kind of a big community day, where we're going to bring a potluck, have some classes, sit around and get to know each other, do some things outside, maybe some games, maybe make some homemade ice cream. People that play instruments, bring that kind of stuff, and just make it just a big gathering day where we can learn and get to know each other and build our community, the not just physical part of the community, but the emotional part of the community, make those connections. And that's very important. It's very important because of this world that we live in. We all agreed yesterday at the meeting that was maybe the most important thing that we need to be doing right now. It is building this community here, and then everywhere. People need to be doing that. And that's why if you host meetings, or if you want to host meetings, please just send me an email and I'll mention them on here. There was a bunch of kids there, and that is awesome. It's a big place, and there's playground equipment outside. So please, if you come next time and you have kids, bring them. If you have teenagers, sometimes they're like, oh, Dad, Mom, I don't want to go. Well, there are teenagers there. Bring your teenagers. Encourage them to come. Twist their arm, whatever. And there's places for them to hang out and stuff, or they can just be part of the adult, meeting. I did a PowerPoint and a little show on basic introductory to ham radio, and then I did a little talk afterwards on my version of ancestral knowledge. And like I said, I'm going to do a video on Patreon to go into detail about what I meant by that and why that's a big thing that we should be prepping. Why do we do what we do? Why do you prep? Why do you homestead? Why do you try to live self-sufficient? Why do you watch these channels and these shows? Part of it is, I'm sure, to prepare yourself, maybe your wife and your family, but we also need to look at is we very well could be that last line of people that can pass stuff on, that can pass traditions and traditional beliefs and traditional morals and patriotic historical information that's true facts, because this is getting washed away. And so in developing and building and nurturing a community, we can do that. We can bounce off of each other. It's already happening. I'm going to tell this little story. I'm not going to mention the name because I know, both parties are probably watching this video. There's an older couple that I've known personally for a few years, and they come. And then there was a middle-aged couple, and they had several little kids. Okay, the older couple, now these people didn't know each other at all. In fact, they lived quite a good distance from each other until coming to this meeting. And the older couple, the lady, the wife, and they are the dearest people. I love them to death. So if you're watching, you know who I'm talking about. She uses one of those walkers on wheels, that she can walk on, and then she can turn around and sit in. You guys know what I'm talking about. And then this other family, they had these young kids, and they were the most adorable little girls. They were just the cutest things ever. And they had the youngest, I don't know, she was probably 2.5, 3 years old, I'm gonna guess. And the older lady with her little walker that you can sit in, she was wheeling the little girl around in her little walker and just having fun with her and talking. And the kids, a lot of these kids, especially even coming from the last meeting and then this meeting, they've gotten to know several of the other families. So they're all playing together, and they're even coming up to the other adults. I've gotten to know some of the kids. Last night when people were leaving, people are hugging each other, saying that they can't wait till they see them in the next meeting. Call us, we're exchanging phone numbers. This is what we're talking about. I'm not saying that having just a mag that you just go out and you train doing with your rucksack and your bug out bag and your gun is wrong. That's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good idea. But you also have to do things, folks, as a community. You have to build that community, because if you don't build it now and you just have connections, people, but you're not really built anything. When the big one goes up, everyone's going to be so defensive and protective of anyone outside their family. It's going to be a lot harder to get to know each other. It's going to be a lot harder to build that trust, because you're going to think that you can't trust anyone now because it's the end of the world is happening. You need to do that now for many reasons, because SHTF is happening. We are in the middle of that. It's not an apocalyptic kind. It's the kind that our world, the very fabric of American spirit and American morality and traditional values, is being ripped away as we speak. That in itself is an SHTF, folks. And so we need to do this. We need to be building community. And yesterday, even though the other meetings were really good, yesterday for the first time I started to see a community. People were behaving as a community. People were taking care of each other's kids and sharing in personal life stories as we sat around. And like I said, when people left, people were giving each other hugs and planning on meeting privately and doing things, and people offering to go to other people's houses to help with things. That is what we have to build. And as long as we're left here on this earth, and with all that we have to endure while we're here, this is the kind of thing that we need to do. I believe more important than just about anything other than your own soul and your family's soul. Building community in this way, I think is absolutely a must. So I've had questions from some of you that live far off, so you're trying to do it on your own wherever you're at, and you've asked, how do you do it? How do you do it? I'm working on some ideas, and I'll probably do a video, and maybe I could even do a PDF, like slideshow, something that I can share with people. But I think that there's no reason why we can't replicate what we're doing right here in other places. Yeah, I don't see why not. So folks, for those of you that came yesterday, thank you very much. I hope to see you at the next meeting on June 11th, and to keep in contact, because personally, it means a lot to me that you're showing up, not because you watch my channel. Actually, there was a couple of people there that didn't even know I had YouTube videos. It means more to me that, you know, you're just showing up to fill a seat or to learn a lesson, you know, listen to a class. It means a lot to me that you're being part of building something special, a community, not some kind of crazy whatever, but just people in a geographic area that have a like mind and that are helping each other, and being shoulders to lean on, and being brains to pick, and sharing and passing on information and knowledge and tradition to each other. That is special, and that is important, and that is one of the ultimate levels of survival. All right, folks, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.